Today we will be looking at the question of what in the world is an endorsement. The endorsement is something that you will have to choose upon entering high school from your 8th grade year and on into your 9th grade year. And let's talk about what exactly an endorsement is. The endorsements were introduced to the state of Texas starting with something called House Bill 5 prior to the 2014-15 school year. And House Bill 5 tells us this, that in the 2014-15 school year and beyond, a school district must ensure that each student, upon entering 9th grade, indicates in writing an endorsement that the student intends to earn. Also, it says that a district must permit a student to choose at any time to earn an endorsement other than the endorsement that the student previously indicated. So what in the world is an endorsement? Well, let's find out. Basically, here's what an endorsement is. It's a series of electives in an area of study designed to give students an opportunity to gain in-depth experience and knowledge within that specific area. In college, this would be looked at as either a major or a minor, but it's not that big of a deal in high school. It's simply a series of electives that allow students to explore studying a certain area. Endorsements are available in 5 main areas of study, otherwise known as pathways here in Pflugerville, and they are as follows. STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics; business and industry; public service; arts and humanities; and multidisciplinary studies. And within each one of these pathways, there are several options for endorsements. So let's look at these pathways and some examples of what the endorsements are. STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Within this pathway, endorsements include engineering and technology, which is a part of our Project Lead the Way program, which is a nationwide initiative in the engineering field. Programming and software development, and you can also specialize simply in math or science. If you're doing math, you'll take 5 credits of math, which will include Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2, and then 2 advanced math courses that have Algebra 2 as a prerequisite. Examples of that would include pre-calculus and then calculus A, B, and BC, along with statistics and or AP statistics. Science, that would include 5 science credits that would have to include biology, chemistry, physics, and then 2 additional science courses that we offer. Now, on the right-hand side, we've included the graduation requirements for the STEM pathway. And if you notice, it specifies that if you're going to do the STEM pathway, you must take Algebra 2 as one of your mathematics. You have to have Algebra 1, Geometry, Algebra 2, and then 1 additional advanced math. It also specifies which sciences you have to have. You have to have biology, chemistry, physics, and then 1 other advanced science course in the standard graduation requirements. That's in the STEM pathway, whether you're doing math or science as your area of focus or not. If you're doing Project Lead the Way or programming and software development, you must take those specific math courses and science courses. You don't have to take 5 of them, but you do have to take those specific ones. Business and industry. Within this pathway, there are several areas of studies. This is one of our larger ones. You can study agriculture, food, and natural resources. You can study architecture and construction. You can also look at several different areas in the arts and audio-video communications endorsements. And that includes our debate program, as well as our legal services and the journalism endorsement. Also, you can look at business management and administration, finance, hospitality and tourism, information technology, which would include our web development side of things, and then marketing. Now over here on the graduation requirements on the side here, if you notice, it doesn't specify that you have to have Algebra 2. Now we certainly encourage students to take Algebra 2 because at the college level they're going to need that type of math. It also doesn't specify that you have to have biology, chemistry, and physics. It gives you more options for sciences. So these graduation requirements are going to be basically the same for the next set of pathways that we're going to be talking about. The only one that specifies sciences and maths that you have to take is the STEM pathway. The other ones are a little more open. The public service pathway is where you will find our education and training, and that's our Ready, Set, Teach practicum, where students their junior and senior year can go to elementary schools and learn a little bit about how to teach and watch teachers make lesson plans and work with students. And it's a great opportunity to see the ins and outs of the teaching field. Also, government and public administration, and the areas of study within that endorsement area are political science, public management and administration, which would be city management and local government, and then our JROTC program here at Hendrickson High School. Currently, Hendrickson is the only campus within Pflugerville that has ROTC, but you can specialize in that as well. Health science, and that includes an opportunity to take the health science practicum during your senior year, which is where our students visit nursing homes and hospitals and see how nurses and doctors operate in the real world. And then also, if you're interested in doing early childhood development, you could take part of our human services pathway. And the graduation requirements for this are over here on the right-hand side. Arts and humanities. Arts and humanities include our visual arts program, which is drawing, painting, sculpting, and ceramics. All of our students that are in the visual arts will take Art 1 as their first class, and then you will specialize after that and choose whether you want to specialize in drawing, painting, sculpting, or ceramics. If you're part of our band, choir, color guard, dance, drill team, theater arts, or our musical theater program, and you plan on doing that for 4 years, then one of the endorsements that you would choose would be performing arts, and that would enable you to complete that pathway if you choose that. Also, AP Social Studies, that would be taking 2 credits in Social Studies in addition to the foundation plan requirements. So the 4 Social Studies that are listed over there on the right, the World Geography, World History, U.S. History, Government, and Economics, you would have to take those plus 2 additional Social Studies. That would be AP Social Studies. A lot of times this endorsement does not make because we don't have enough students that are interested in it, but we do list that as an option in the case that those classes do make. And examples of those classes would be AP, European History, and various other social studies that we offer. Also, if you're interested in making languages other than English your focus, you would take 4 years of a foreign language, and that's a part of the arts and humanities pathway. The multidisciplinary pathway. That would include our AVID program, so if you're going to take 4 years of the AVID class. Also, our foundation program, 4x4, which is 4 years of math, science, social studies, and language arts. And if you take that, you would also make sure you have to take the English 4, Algebra 2, and then either chemistry or physics, plus 5.5 electives of the student's choosing. Now, this is what graduation programs looked like mainly before House Bill 5. So if you are either not wanting to focus on a specific area of study and just want to take various electives, then the multidisciplinary pathway would be the pathway for you. And you can also focus on AP courses and take 4 advanced placement or dual credit courses plus the 5.5 electives that are part of every pathway. So you would choose 5.5 electives from really anything that we offer here in Pflugerville. So what an endorsement is not. It is not a major or a minor. It's designed to give a student an in-depth experience in an area of study to see if that is something that they might be interested in studying further after high school. So this is a great way to see what you might like to do without having to spend money on college classes. If a student gets into the endorsements and really doesn't like them, then it's not a big deal. They'll still be able to graduate high school, and they won't have to have wasted money or time on other classes. But it's not a major or a minor. It's just something that's gives them an opportunity to get a little more in depth in a specific subject. It's also not a commitment to study that area in college. In many cases, students get into pathway classes and they decide that they just really are not interested in that specific class or in that area, and they've determined that they just would not want to study that further in college. It's a great way for students to try out an area of study prior to higher education without having to spend that extra money on those classes and decide they want to do something different later. It's also not supposed to add stress to the high school process. It's designed to make high school a fun experience and a better experience prior to college, but it's not designed to add stress. So what if your child chooses an endorsement and just absolutely hates it? Well, is it the end of the world? Absolutely not. It is not. Will it cause them to be off track for graduation? No, they will not. Can they change to another endorsement or pathway later? Yes, they can. We'll talk a little bit more about that on the next slide. And will colleges turn my child away because they changed endorsements or pathways? No, they will not. Colleges really don't have that much interest in what your child chose to do as an endorsement. They're really more concerned with their class rank and their GPA and whether or not your student fulfilled the requirements for graduation and did it in a satisfactory manner. They're not concerned too much with the electives that your child took in high school. So changing pathways, here's how you do that. If you change your mind and want to change to a different endorsement, it's always best to do that early and move to another endorsement in the same pathway if possible. It's also best to make the move early, such as the start of your 10th grade year. That way you have more options for pathways that you might be eligible to move to. If you decide you want to change pathways, sometimes the only option is to move to the multidisciplinary plan. Students can choose from almost any electives that we offer to complete the multidisciplinary plan. So if a student does not want to choose a specific pathway, or they decide that they just don't want to complete the pathway that they're on, the multidisciplinary endorsement is a great option. Also, if a student wants to change pathways, the first step would be to visit with their high school counselor because you will need to fill out a pathway change form that the district has, and that needs to be done in writing, and you have to have parent permission to do that. But it's also best to talk to a high school counselor to figure out what your specific options are as far as changing pathways.